Gratitude greetings. Align and Thrive show with Geetika and Sunny. Bappa is very kind. Today is a very auspicious day because every day is auspicious. Today's special grace with Aravindan Arumugam ji. Special guest. He's sweet, cool, charming, smiling. He folds paper to unfold our minds. Yes, he's a palmist and origami transformation coach. I'm super excited and curious to learn from him in this episode. Welcome, Arvindan ji.
Welcome. I'm here to learn from you. Lovely.
So please take us through your journey because you have traveled to a couple of countries and I'm sure you were doing something else with IT, computer, some technology, and
Yes.
then you came to India and started this. तो थोड़ा बताइए क्योंकि स्कूल में नहीं बोलते हैं आई वांट टू बी अ palmist, आई वांट टू बी अ origami to transformation coach. So please tell us more
Okay.
about yourself.
Right. So basically, I was born in London, and dad was in the Air Force, and so we traveled everywhere. And so Indian Air Force, 2 years posting everywhere. So and dad eventually retired somewhere in Coimbatore. So most of my schooling and all that happened in Coimbatore, and schooling and college happened in Coimbatore. So I was.
मैं अभी कोयम्बटूर में ही बैठा हूँ सर एंड आई एम अ चिन्मय विद्यालय प्रोडक्ट.
अरे वाह. Okay, so beautiful. So from there, what I did, so I was an enthu kid and I liked movies and liked, Star Wars got me into it, Spielberg and all those things, got stuff into it. So I was really interested in movies. Okay, right. So, and now in 12th, I failed in Sanskrit. Sorry, in 10th, I failed in Sanskrit. In 12th, I failed in maths. Okay. So now why I failed in maths is a very different thing. Basically, in 100 marks, okay, there is 60 marks for differentiation and integration. Okay, and my father, he was a physics honors. He used to teach engineering students, and also teaching MBA students, and he is one of the first few people who learned COBOL, Pascal, Fortran at that point of time. When I was second class, I went to one of the topmost computers in the country, which is a defense computer. And the defense computer was you enter into the computer. The room is the computer. There are spool-to-spool tape recorders. And there is so that was an era okay, where punch cards used to be there. I still have punch cards. Okay, so he was into many things, so he gave us exposure to everything. So now in this 60 marks of differentiation and integration. Okay, there's like घर में आता हूं तो there is a scientific calculator of FX100 most time. Okay, if you put the thing today like ChatGPT, you put the problem, you got the answer. Okay, so I said, why am I learning this if at home there's a calculator which is there? So 60% I skipped. Okay, I'm attempting only 40. Okay, in that 40 I have to get 35. I got 28. So as far as I'm concerned, is distinction. They considered fail, so not my problem. Anyway, but my scores in botany and all that was high, so biology is high. So I did a 1-year diploma in interior decoration, and simultaneously that was weekend. And this was, where there was no CAD at that time. There's physical drawings on A4 size papers, drafting, learning interiors at that point of time. And I did a graduation in botany. Okay, so, and I was into a lot of things. I was a painting club secretary. I was a, ornithologist, taking kids to WWF member. So, and taking kids for wildlife stuff, and then pin and thread artist and origami artist and lots of stuff, liking a lot of stuff. So, and filmmaking was one of the main things that I wanted to get into, for which you need a graduation. You need some kind of a science graduation there. I had fun. College was fun. School was terrible. Okay, I hated school, but college was absolute fun. Okay, so and then a lot of enthusiasm, discovery, and stuff like that. I got into film school and in Chennai, and I was a gold medalist from there in direction and screenplay. Yes, and then I was one of the early adapters of tech in a filmmaking this thing. I was one of the first few Avid editors the first few Halio compositors and flame compositors and VFX supervisor. So my claim to fame at that time in 99 was I did Maniratnam's Alai Paile, which is Satya's original version. So, and I did the VFX supervision for that. And I was, those time internet went in a press conference tha. So I was featured in the press conference, physical newspaper, magazines and all that. So, and then I was called to Bombay. Okay. So, and so now in the meantime, I was one of the first few people where we did internet for my first wife. Okay. So, and there was a yahoo.com. Okay. At that time we had ASL, age sex location. Yes, uske saath she was a UK, she was in Leicester. Okay, and so she came down, and then we met. I went to Leicester, and then वहाँ पे engagement वहाँ पे हुआ, शादी हुई चेन्नई में. But obviously she's a Gujarati, she wouldn't know Tamil and all that. And film industry, I was in Chennai film industry, so I said, okay, we'll move to Bombay. And they saw my VFX work and all that, so I was to run a VFX division in Famous Studios. And then I was one of the first few motion control camera operators. And I've done over VFX for 14 feature films in the meantime. I was always wanting to direct my feature film, and I was pitching for my direction. So now how this whole journey happens is I've been pitching 3 times the film stops. Okay, right? So every time the film starts and you get a producer and stuff like that. The last one was about in 2011 when the film stopped at 90% completion. I had a Japanese cinematographer from LA, Keiko Nakahara, and it was, everything happened, and my mom got into 3 strokes and TB meningitis in the brain. So 1 stroke in the left, 1 stroke in the right, 1 stroke in the carpus callosum, and she was like, and the meningitis, 45 days in the ICU. And by the time she discharged, I have to overnight start a hospital at home. And you have the whole RT feed, learn the whole thing. You have a 12-hour nurse. So everything, had to be done. And there was some legal issues with the film. The film stops. And then the same year, one single year, me and my wife separate. Okay. So, but we had the separation also was a mad couple. We had a divorce party. Okay. We celebrated the the divorce also is packed up to UK, but call the same people who used to come for birthday parties. उनको फोन किया तो कुछ दोस्त होते हैं, कॉल किया तो बोला हम लोग सेपरेट हो रहे हैं. तो उन्होंने बोला कि गिफ्ट एक लेके आओ कि 2 लेके आओ. So yeah, so all fun, all good, so all amicable. And then उसके बाद what happened was I was playing with my dog. I got some kind of an electrical sensation. Went to my GP and he said, look, you might have a tennis elbow. Okay, so went to the GP, I mean, so orthopedic, who he said, do this, do that. Bharatanatyam, some steps and all. He said, no tennis elbow, no golfer's elbow, no carpal tunnel. Then he said, there's a median nerve entrapment in the arcade of Forus. The name itself sounded like, lymphosarcoma, that's like a big name. So eventually this finger got paralyzed. Okay, so, and I've been showing middle finger to everybody, middle finger showed to me only. So this finger got paralyzed. And so paralyzed means it can move and all that, but there was no strength. Even now I have an issue over here. That is because of high usage of the mouse and early on, and not using the correct chair and all those procedures. So now every alternate day, I had to go for physiotherapy to get my hand back. I couldn't even tear a medicine. I couldn't even open a bottle of water. So all my graphics work, what was it, that came to a standstill. And my mom's condition was like that, so I can't travel outdoor. So I can't go for shoots. Because shoot can be only local. There also a situation can be emergency anytime. So hospital and ambulance was always handy, had the numbers always handy and stuff like that. So now, so everything comes, in 1 year, okay, everything comes to a standstill. Every single thing, and you're top of the line tech, the stuff, the game, and you know exactly what you want. Okay, so there is no confusion in that, and you're trying for what you want, and you are in the game, you know everything. But every single thing you learned has no meaning. Okay, and now you're figuring out, and you're in debt. Okay, and all this shit. Okay, so but it was one fun year. Okay, and to me, I'm extremely resilient. Everything is like fun. Everything is good. Okay, so whether it is a dip, whether it's up, doesn't matter. Everything is happy. Okay, so now that point of time, so my what do you call my physiotherapist said you have to stop doing this click 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 is gone. Okay, you have to do two-hand activities. So people like drummers, percussionists, other people who are like pianists, they don't get this issue. And teachers who are writing every day, everybody's working, laborers who are working. So it's only this IT people and graphics guys, they get this media carpal tunnel or median nerve, these kind of issues, because we are unusual activity. Okay, it's like you're clicking, which is not usual. It's not a very human thing to do. So I said, what will I do as a as two-hand activities? So I went back to my childhood, all the things which I stopped for being a filmmaker, and origami came. Okay, so I started folding paper again. And when I started this, suddenly I've not folded for 15, 20 years. I was one of the, that time doing there's this Robert Harbin, that was the only book, Robert Harbin's 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 books, which is there. And there's Kuniko Kashihara's book, which is there. And these were like, there was a thing called Jackstone, 30-step model. If you do this, you deserve a medal. So वो मैंने बना दिया था. Okay, so उसके बाद when this was long time back. Okay, so in school में उस time पे. Now later on, when I come 15 years back, there are 300-step models. People are like doing some extreme level of detail with human figures and dragons and that level. And then origami has come into a science where Robert Lang has taken and he has folded the satellite wing in NASA. Okay, the stent in the heart is an origami fold. The airbag in the car is an origami fold. In military, compression of bridges, compression of tents are all origami folds. They're very systematically folded. You can't just randomly crush something. So it is, if your airbag has to deploy in 0.6 seconds, it can't be just crushed. It's very systematically folded. And it has to deploy in that. And so there's an origami scientist who does that. And there's so much of study on folding and unfolding. And nature is always constantly folding and unfolding. Okay, so you find anything in insects.
Nature example, please.
Sorry?
Nature example, please.
Nature example. Yeah, see, if you see, take any beetle. Okay, it's a very hard shell thing. And the wing is very large. When it opens the wing, you see this wing expanding so large. And then you see a bat which is hanging upside down. It is a very large wingspan. Okay, so how the hell did it fold inside? Okay, so now I'll give you a philosophy of nature example, and which is what I tell a lot of people. So if you take a seed or you take an egg, we are completely folded. We came from an egg. We came completely folded into an egg. Every plant and living being came folded into a seed. I take about 100 seeds and I chuck it. Okay. In that, the conditions are terrible. One, there is no water. One, thoda sa aaya, bakri kha ke chala gaya. Okay. So there's different conditions for each seed. Okay, right? And one becomes this massive banyan tree, which is a 300-year-old massive, huge banyan tree. Okay, and it's one seed, but all the seeds were same. So when it came, all the seeds were same. They didn't get the same conditions. So nature is giving the same gene, the same brain, the same everything, every power. If you go to a baby nursery in a hospital, okay, you don't know which one is Beethoven, which one is Einstein, which one is what. All of them look the same, right? So that baby nursery, all babies are same, right? So. And we are not talking about malfunction or some issues, genetic issues, but otherwise you are completely. But were you born in a place where there is thriving, science, or there is thriving money, or there is whichever condition, or you were in a very bad condition when nature is totally ruthless, okay, on unfolding. Unfolding is up to you. All the information folded was given. How you unfold is totally up to you. And one of the things which we constantly do is we measure. Okay, so when there is a plant which is a small creeper which is not getting light, is struggling towards that light, and it gets the light, and it goes and it starts moving, and it goes. It is not saying, look at the oak tree next to me. He's so big. उसका कंडीशन इतना अच्छा है, ओके, वो जाके पूजा नहीं करता है वो डिप्रेशन में भी नहीं जाता है इट डजंट नीड मोटिवेशन टॉक्स, ओके, सो इट इट इज डूइंग इट्स थिंग, वो ओक अपना कर रहा है, द क्रीपर इज डूइंग इट्स ओन थिंग, ओके, सो द ओनली प्रॉब्लम वी डू इज वी मेजर, नेचर डजंट मेजर, ओके, it just lives, and once we stop measuring we will unfold. Okay, so now what happened was, in my journey, I started folding paper. Now this became, some of my very close friends, they called me over, they said, why don't you teach us origami? So masti masti mein we went, घर पे ये सबके लिए मतलब क्रेन बना रहे, so they said, okay, we know, we'll pay you something. Okay, so I said, no, don't pay. I said, no, you're taking your time. So they paid me a nominal amount. From there it became, it went into corporates. Now corporate people started calling me for training, doing workshops. Now my day rate, which I was getting for 8 hours or 10 hours for my visual effects supervision and motion control operation, I made more than that in 2 hours for folding paper, making some paper crane. I said, what the shit is going on? Okay, after 30 years, 35 years of experience in one field, you just doing some folding paper. So one door closes, some unusual door opens. Okay. And that became like skyrocketing, that became like viral. Okay. Then I felt one guilt conscious. Okay, what is going on? I told the next corporate guy, look, you can call a craft teacher. You don't need to call me. I'll send you the video. Okay, I'll send you the PDF. You guys can fold it yourself. And in 2 hours, you guys are not creative, you're CEOs and this and that. You cannot fold a dragon. Okay, we can fold only a very small model. Okay, so in spite of pushing it away, it pulled me. He said, no, you come. We're ready to pay. Okay. I said, yeah, who care? Okay, so, like, even if I push it away, it pulled. It just, the flow pulled me towards this thing. And I started a new company, Unfold and Rewire, besides my company, my private limited, which was there. And I got into projection mapping, and I've done some 8 large projection mapping shows, which are very huge. Projection mapping is the sound and light shows you project on buildings and water screens, and so that's another thing which is going on. So various strands opened. That very thing of 2011, I also wrote a book called Why Are We Wired, and that's what this whole philosophy is based on. Okay, so the basically model that made it look something. Then I reverse engineered why are they calling. Okay, so it was basically I cured my hand with folding paper, and over that here, and then I started. Thank you so much. So, and what happened was, I reverse engineered this whole model as to why they're calling me. They called me for my journey. Okay, they wanted to hear what I'm saying, not just fold one paper crane. वो नहीं था. Okay, so then I made this into a system. So this is how it looks. Okay, so this is basically the 3 conflicts. So you have basically here it's man, self, and nature, or the same thing. This triad is there everywhere. Artha, Kama, Dharma, Sat, Chit, Ananda, ethos, pathos, logos. Okay, line of life, line of head, line of heart. The sun sign, moon sign, ascendant. So everywhere in the world you will see this 3. Everything starts with a system of 3. Okay, so and how did the system of 3? You will see in any religious effect, it basically is when you start with 1, there is nothing. From that's first you have basically Advaita, right? Advaita is not 2, and then you have Dvaita, which is 2. Okay, now they didn't say Ekanta, they didn't say Shunya. Okay, from not 2 came 2. What is not 2? We don't know. We're still trying to find the God particle and the whatever that not 2 is. We're still trying to find that not 2. It is not 1. It is not. Everything came from 1. They didn't say that. Everything came from 0. They didn't say that. It came from not 2. Right? Okay. Advaita, Siddvaita. Right? Okay. So, and then if you see this, if you see the yin yang, you have 1, and then you have the negative opposite. You have 2. Moment you have 1 and 2, you have a flux in between. You have an energy flux of how they coexist. There's a pull of magnetic force between this. That is the 3rd. So that is this 3. So these 3 are conflicts. So how you deal with this conflict, and that is basically your heart, The blue is the emotion, the heart, and this is the mind, and this is the self, okay, the subconscious, right? Okay, so now the gut, right? So it's
So
all
उसमें लिखा है man self और तीसरा क्या है?
it's nature, man, self. Okay.
Awesome.
You can also call it.
So sir, we'll do another episode where we'll learn more from you.
Sure.
So thank you so much for today, and we wish you happy Bappa Jayanti. Thank you
sir.
so much.
Lovely.
Happy
Thanks.
Ganesh Chaturthi to everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
so much,
So lovely.
Aravindan ji, for